What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Mate with Hans Real Estate podcast. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Hans Waisfeld, real estate agent in Miami with Keller Williams. And today's guest has flipped over 1,000 homes. He is coach and mentor to over 100 students. And I am so honored to have today's guest, Mr. Flipman, Philip Zweig. Thank you so much, Flip, for joining us today. It's a pleasure having you here, man. What is going on?
Absolutely, Hans. Good to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I know you're in Arizona. Over here in Miami, we're at 7 p.m. I know over there you're at 4 p.m. So I know it's like the middle of the day for you. So again, I really want to thank you for taking the time to joining this Zoom call with us. And I'm super excited about all the bombs that you're gonna drop today for all those people that want to get started in real estate investing specifically.
100%. Yes.
So I know you've been in the real estate business for over 20 years, right?
Yes. Yeah. Time flies, Hans.
20 years, man. So over 1,000 flips. Tell me about that, man. That's insane. Over 1,000 flips. That's over 1,000 families that you got them into a beautiful remodeled home. I mean, that's a blessing.
Yeah. It's been doing it since the late 90s already. And started with my first home and then did my second and just progressed. And, over the years, it adds up and it just started doing a lot of volume like the third year in the business. And just
That's
meant
nuts.
learning from people in the area of Arizona, and I always stayed local to Arizona because so many houses out here, just a lot of business.
Right. Tell us about that first flip, man. How'd you get started, and how was that first flip that you did?
It was memorable. Like any first flip, my main thing, Hans, was that I was able to get into the game of real estate. That's all that mattered. If I made money, I was trying to make money, but I didn't make any money. I made about $1,000. So for me, it was a win because I got my first deal and I saw that it was real and you could do this and transform a house into a home.
I love that. I've heard you other videos, and you always mention that you turn, a house into a home, and that gives me goosebumps, man. That touches me because really, it's you're making a living, and you're doing that. You're making a house into a home for a family, and that's beautiful, man. Wow. And I'm sure that first flip also, was a blessing to you. And you're like, all right, man, I'm getting into this. And that must have been a game changer, life changer, right?
It was because, again, like I tell the students, until you do your first flip, you could study up all you want, but like everything goes into it, your whole body, your soul, everything. When you're down there every day working and you know what it takes and you're in the game, you're on the ride, you're on the carousel. And
Right.
I didn't want to go back to corporate America. I wanted to really do this as a full-time career.
Wow, man. And how was that switch? How was that switch from, from corporate America, working in an office, a 9 to 5 to full-time real estate investing, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have, those steady jobs and they're complacent, they're comfortable, getting those pay stubs. They want to get started, but you gotta have that courage. You gotta have balls, to actually just go for it, right? So
You,
how was that for you, man?
you do, and it 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 was easy for me, but I think the people that loved me and were around me, they were a little worried about what's he doing. He's leaving a six-figure sales position in corporate America. But I just knew there was I didn't want to be at the mercy of like a corporation taking control of my future. So I knew, in my mid 20s, late 20s, that
Mhm.
I wanted to create and design a life versus living at the mercy of a boss or someone with a corporation. So that was the driving motivator to get me into doing my own thing. And it wasn't easy. The first couple of years were, a lot of faith, a lot of prayer, a lot of help from others. And because I thought about going back to a 9 to 5, but I was fortunate to get a job working out of the home, but I
Mm.
continued doing the real estate. So, um, that was a blessing.
Right, man. So I'm sure it was tough in the first few years, but you kept it going, even though I'm sure there's a few times that you wanted to kind of, give up or not give up, but kind of like, should I go back to, a regular job? You
Well,
held
you,
on, man, and
you do, whether you tell yourself that maybe this isn't working, or maybe I should go get another 9 to 5. And I had a young family at the time, so like you got to pay the bills, you got support the family. So there were days I'm like, what am I doing?
right, but you kept going, man. You kept going, and then 1,000 flips. Isn't
It's
that's insane.
it's been a fun ride, and every flip is different. And thankfully, I met a lot of people along the way that helped me and mentored me, and really helped me grow.
That's beautiful, man. So let me ask you, did you ever were you ever a real estate agent? Did you ever go to traditional real estate, or did you go straight into an investor mindset and flipping homes?
My family, my dad was a traditional real estate agent when I was growing up, but he was
Mhm.
also working three other jobs to pay the bills. So he wasn't real high level, I'd say. And I didn't I took all the classes, Hans, but I didn't want to become a traditional realtor. I didn't want to, show homes. And back in late 90s, like there weren't the flippers like there are today. So I kind of was early in the game. And then, of course, HGTV came along, and now everyone knows about flipping and wholesaling, and it's changed a lot.
I agree, man. I agree completely. Yeah, you started when it wasn't really the thing, right? Like right now, it's the thing. Like everyone has a little bit of money saved up, and they're like, "Oh shit, let me get into real estate. Let me get into flipping. Let me get into investing." Um, so it's awesome that you got started before it was the thing
Yeah,
to do,
because
man.
my
That's beautiful.
bookkeeper, accountant back in the late 90s, they're like, you wholesaled the property? What do you mean you wholesaled? So like they didn't understand what a wholesale deal was. So yeah, there's tons of wholesalers across America, and
Right.
tons of hard money lenders. Like that industry has just boomed the last 10 years, I'd say.
Right, and how have you seen your business change with this whole situation that we're going through? What are some things that has changed for you, and what are some things that you're implementing now, moving forward?
It's So what happened early 2020, I had worked out of the house for the last 19 years out of my home office. And then for your viewers out there, there's a guy named Cody Sperber in Arizona. He's giant in the digital. He's got a company called Clever Investor, which
Mhm.
does a lot of sales training. And
Sounds
um,
familiar. Okay,
yeah,
clever investor.
he's one of the biggest in the nation. He's a friend of mine from 15 years ago. We did our first deal together, but he blew up because he got into digital. Digital meaning, you create the funnels and then you sell the education, which I'm in the process of doing because
Right.
it makes a lot of sense. So anyway, back early January, I decided to get, he's got a 16,000 square foot office. I decided to go in and rent a office space. And absolutely loved it because the synergy of the office with 40 people in there, and they're wholesaling. They got a wholesale team here and a bunch of young, energetic guys. So it was amazing the first couple months, and then I was doing extremely well with deals and deal flow, but then we got hit with Corona, and March, I towards the mid March, the office just shut down because of the
Right.
pandemic,
So
and
you, so you got to enjoy it just a few months.
just a few months, and I'm back. I came back yesterday, so after being away for some months here, we're back in the office. However, with the pandemic, Hans, as you know, we created the Instagram live show where we cut the curve. I interview moguls, mentors, and serial entrepreneurs.
Right.
Never did Instagram before. It's only been 4 months, and we blew that up fairly quick organically, and did a live show for 9 weeks. We took a break this week, but next week we're back at it. And so I focused a lot on my social, my Instagram, and
Beautiful, man.
got to
Love
hang
it.
out at the house and be around the kids. But I still have projects going, and I continued that, and then I just pivoted. I didn't buy any houses during the pandemic, so I'm starting to look for properties right now to fix and flip. But I had 7 homes on the market at various stages during the pandemic.
Beautiful, man. So I really do love what you're doing on the Instagram. I'm really happy and really glad that you are getting into that social media world because I mean, with all your knowledge, with your kindness, with your love for teaching and helping people, I mean, it's the best place, right? Like I'm in Miami. There's people probably all over the world that could get to your your stuff, right? Your advice and your talks and your show, and that's beautiful. Without that, then you wouldn't be able to touch those people, right?
I
So
100%, Hans. I love it because the impact, it's free on Instagram, so anyone can watch our live show. And I have the biggest guys in Arizona, like Keegley was on there, Jamil. He owns the largest wholesale company in the country. I've gotten guys from all over America through Instagram that I would have never met either. So having those guys interview on the show, plus sharing that free with someone that can cut the curve, that can learn from our mistakes and learn from our knowledge, is the reason I created Cut the Curve, and it's been a real blessing.
that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. For the people that are listening that don't know Mr. Flipman, he is live. Well, he said he took this week off, but he's live on Instagram. You can find him with that, was it flipping underscore AZ?
Perfect. Yep.
So flipping Arizona, flipping underscore AZ, you can find him live. He's always talking, giving his knowledge, sharing, dropping great bombs for real estate investors and wholesalers. So for those of you that don't follow him, please go follow him. And anyway, so Mr. Flipman, so tell us a little bit about, real estate investing for those people that are new. I have so much friends and family and just people around me, young people that have a little bit of money saved up and they want to get into it. They just don't pull the trigger. What is the first advice that you give to this new real estate, investors or people that haven't even gotten to it yet? Where should they start? What should they do?
Yeah, when I started, Hans, back in the mid 90s, so Carlton Sheets, I don't know if you've ever heard of
Never.
Carlton Sheets, but
No.
infomercials like out the gazoo on late night TV after Letterman. And so I bought his course back in the mid 90s. He was very big into creative financing, all this. And so there was very little information on that. But today, I would say go to a YouTube channel, go to free content, learn from those people that are having Facebook groups, because it's free. You don't need any money to learn it. And then get a mentor, whether it's, someone you pay for or somewhere you create value for. So what I mean, create value, you have to go to that guy and say, like, Flip, I want to shadow you. I want to go to your office, and whatever it takes, I'll do for you. If I don't have money, maybe I'll go out and knock on doors. Maybe I'll help you with your flyers. So volunteer your time if you don't have the money.
Love it. So pretty much, if you don't, if you want to get started, you don't really know what to do, just start with the basic. Go find someone that's already doing it. Try to, get them as a mentor, or just ask what you can do to help out. Follow them, shadow them, offer them help with any way that you can. And that person, most likely they're gonna be teaching you. I love that, man. It's simple, it's basics, right? Like don't
Exactly.
overcomplicate it.
I think a lot of times you want to overcomplicate it because you want to think that you have to be perfect at whatever you try to learn, but it's like imperfect action is really big in our community. Like, you don't need to be perfect to go do your first fix and flip. Just do it, versus trying to know everything. And then the other thing, Hans, is once it all opens back up, we have local meetups in the community where you go and you visit with guys that are doing a lot of deals. And we have our own meetup that we do monthly, and it's all about fix and flip. Like, just go check it out, and you never know if you're going to meet that person and learn from that. So it's free.
I love it. I love it. You're completely right, man. Down here we have one in Miami, one in Broward. I think it's like the Miami Association. No, sorry, Miami Association. It's Miami Investor. What was it? Something like that. It had like a name. Also the Broward Investor Association, something like that. I definitely have followed both of them, and it's definitely a great way to start. Just go there, hang out with the people that are already doing it, get knowledge from them. Start on YouTube, go online. There's so much content out there.
For
um
sure.
so let me tell you. So for sure, get a mentor and do all these things. Get your education and just go for that first flip. I love that. At least you're gonna first get your education. Hopefully you're gonna have a mentor at least helping you with a little bit. You're gonna go and just get into your first flip. Don't think about it too much. I'm sure you're gonna know the numbers by then, at least like basic numbers. But let me ask you this. What are the things that you're gonna look for in that flip, in that property? Because a lot of, like myself, I get a lot of deals from wholesalers, off market
Yeah.
properties from different ways, right? But I'm thinking, sometimes I think in my head, hey, the best deals are probably already gone. Like they're already either at the source, right? Or I don't know, that might be a mindset. But what can you tell me about, how do you find these best deals to start analyzing, or how do you go about that?
Hans, that's a good point you raised about, like, there's so many wholesale companies out there right now, and I bought from a lot of them locally here. My best buys have always been before they hit the internet, before they, you know, blast them out to everyone. I'm like, hey,
Mm.
Troy, I develop a relationship with wholesalers. So I try to take them out for coffee. Let's meet at the office, swing by, develop a relationship. You don't need a ton of wholesalers to bring you deals. And, before they send them out to everyone, hey, give me a shot. Let me see if I could buy it. And that's how I built my business with a few key wholesalers, because they kept bringing me deals and more deals, and made life easy. So, the wholesale deals are out there, but like, get to know who you're buying from. I would suggest that strongly. Like, call them up. Hey, Troy, let me come by your office. Let's chat. I'm new to the game, but I got money. I'm ready to buy a deal. Um, and then
Hmm.
you got to be able to act quick once you see that deal. But people like to work with people that they know and that they see, right? So that instead of just seeing a property online, hey, but if they know Hans, if they know Flip, like they're more, it's just relational for me over the years.
Beautiful, man. I love that. I love that tip. So pretty much, build a relationship with these wholesalers, or not even wholesalers, right? It could be just anyone in general that's already that's getting to the source of the deals, right? It could also be a bank, a person working at the bank, right? The ones that get the foreclosures, whoever, attorneys getting
Yeah,
probate, right? Just build a relationship with these people that are the ones getting to the source of the deals, of the properties. And so you could try to be kind of like the first one that gets their hands on it, right? That's probably how you're gonna get the best deal. I love that. I love that, man.
100%. And then the other key people you need on your team is realtors like yourself, because you guys are out there every day looking at properties. So, like, the last 7 houses I did came through off market real estate agents that knew that they would double dip. So they get both sides of the
Mm.
commission. So it makes it a win win. And then guess what? If I flip that, if I end up fixing it and renovating it, they're going to get the sell side of that too. So now there's a three-way commission for them.
Beautiful, man. So those real estate agents, you heard that. Work with investors. Try to find properties for the investors, build a relationship like someone like Mr. Flipman, and you're gonna get tons of business. I love that. That's why I love working with investors, because you get a few sides of the deal. They always keep coming back, and as long as you bring them properties, the numbers make sense for them. Then by all means, why not have a strong relationship and keep going at it, right? It's a win-win
For
for
sure.
everyone involved, man.
Yeah.
Man, I love that. I love that. And so tell me a little bit about how about investing with, what is it, with no money, so other people's money, OPM?
Yep. Yep. Use that strategy quite a bit. Um, let's see, November of 2019, I bought 5 condos. They were off market from a real estate agent in Scottsdale, Arizona. I locked it up, Hans, for $837,000 for these 5 condos. Now, I didn't, that's a lot of money for anyone. So I'm like, all right, how am I going to work this deal? But like, I knew that the key was not about where to find the money. I knew I'd find the money. I wanted to lock it up quickly because I knew it was a deal. They were 167 and I recently sold them for 255. So I knew there was
Beautiful.
plenty of spread in there. But like, where am I going to get $837,000 to buy the properties? I got some other projects, money's tied up. So I got into the deal. A friend of mine who's a private money lender, he lent me 615,000. So now we're about $222,000 short of capital. So I sent the email to maybe 10 guys I know. Brandon said, "Hey, Flip, I'd like to partner up and JV these with you. I could get the money for the closing. Guess what? I could also get the money for the renovation." So I didn't bring any money over $1 million, Hans, to the table. I didn't bring any of it. It was everyone, other people's money, OPM, as you said. And I closed one, checks of like 30 grand a pop. So, I mean, no money of my own, believe it or not.
Wow, man.
And
That is beautiful.
so
Yeah,
it can
that's
it can be done, but I always teach
hmm
you got to lock the deal up, and then you got to present it in a way to, maybe someone that doesn't know you could JV with a guy like me, you could JV with someone that that has some money, but lock the deal up, and then we'll figure out a strategy to get, if you don't have the money to buy it or fix it, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out because there's plenty of money. The hard part is finding that wholesale deep discount deal. So that's why I always teach others that let's lock it up. If it's a deal, it's a deal. The money we'll figure out.
I love that, man. That's a great tip. That's a great point. So the money, the money is, again, I believe the same thing. Money is sometimes easier to get. The properties, those great deals, is the hardest thing to get. So when you do come across one of those great deals, and it's amazing, it's a gold mine, just lock it up in easier terms, put an offer on it, right? Put an offer on it. Your real estate agent, or you had to learn, at least the person needs to learn a little bit about putting offers on it, right? I don't want to get too much into that, but you put an offer on it and then you go and you get the money, right?
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, I don't want to get too much into the details into making the offer with because you probably have to assign it or whatever. It's really gonna depend on what kind of deal you're structuring. But I really love that, man. I haven't heard of that tip. Just get the deal, make it happen, and then you look for the money. As long as the numbers make sense, then why wouldn't someone want to, put money in it if they're gonna get a return right away, right? So
100%. And here was something that was another caveat to this 5 condos. So there were tenants in all 5 of these units. So as a flipper, I'm like, oh, I need to flip them right away. But to me, I had to think differently because those tenants still had to pay rent. I still had to honor um, their
their leases.
their lease, exactly. But like I gave them, soon as their leases were up, gave them a 30-day notice, which is fine in Arizona. And then little by little did each unit, and it worked out fine. So sometimes we get too caught up, like, oh, there's still a tenant in there, but there's always if it makes sense on the purchase, you could figure out the other dynamic of a tenant, maybe you could pay him off to move or something. There's just
Love it.
look at the numbers.
Right. I love that, man. You just motivated me. You just gave me
Super.
really good tips, really good advice. I really hope that the people that are gonna be listening really get motivated and get that advice too, man. I love that. Just go for it, right? If the numbers make sense, just go for it. Don't think about it twice. I mean, especially if you're just getting started, like myself, you know, you're gonna learn, right? In the first one, you might not make money. There's a lot of people that even lose a little bit of money, right? Not everybody comes out winning the first one, but at least you did that first one. And it's like anything in life. After you do that first one, then the rest become easier and easier, and you learn.
Yeah.
So it's like just go for it, lock it up. You'll find the money, and keep going at it, man. It's beautiful. I really appreciate that.
100%. Yeah, the numbers, you got to be a numbers guy, like you said, and the numbers are the numbers. I mean, it's math. Like if you gotta figure it out, and it'll work.
Perfect, man. Perfect. So to finish this off, we're gonna do some fun questions so we can end it up in a fun way. All
Okay.
right. So let's see what I got for you. Tell me, what is the best purchase and the worst purchase you've ever done in your life? It could be anything. Not It doesn't have to be real estate related. It could be anything.
Yeah, I mean, the best one, I mean, I had so many big ones back in 04, 05, 06 when the market in Arizona was just crazy. So there was one in Scottsdale. Richard brought me. He was a wholesaler back in the early days, and um, I bought it. I made 82,000 on the wholesale, and then someone else wholesaled it, made another 15, and then another guy wholesaled it, he made another 10, and then they finally retailed it out and made like 35 grand. So it was like
That's
insane time back
nuts.
then.
What
Yeah,
happened there? What the hell? That's incredible. Holy shit. I haven't heard of that. So it was
yeah.
like over $100,000 spread. And that's
Giant
crazy, man.
spread, and like back, when the markets were just inflating like overnight, the monies were, and it was Scottsdale. So everyone, wants to, still to this day, they pay premiums for being in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Interesting, man. Interesting. You have any worse ones?
hmm I bought a house over by the Arizona State Fairgrounds. Nine, for you guys not watching, it's Central Phoenix area. It was a home built in the late 40s, and I typically don't go that far in age. I like the newer 80s, 90s stuff, but whatever reason, I thought it was a great deal. It was a great deal on paper, but this was early on in my career. I went in and I did it up like I would do a Chandler home, or so you got to really know the market you're selling to. So this home was like in a one of those neighborhoods that is not your typical tract neighborhood. It's more of a historic area. So I did it like I would do my home out in Chandler, Arizona. I put a regular granite, whatever. And I was like, oh man, this isn't selling. And I'm like, I made a big mistake because they look for a certain type of home in a historic neighborhood versus a tract. And I ended up losing like 50,000 on that deal.
Wow. So do you think that came from not doing your due diligence, from not having a real estate agent that knows the area? What do you think could have helped you, not for that not to have happened?
Yeah, I believe like I was spinning so many deals at that time, and I didn't have like there's so much going on. Like I just saw the numbers, and I saw the spread, but like, yeah, in retrospect, Hans, I definitely learned from that pain because, losing that kind of money is very painful. And not to do that again. You really have to know your pocket, your neighborhood, how much I put into the house, because again, we could overdo the house too. And like at the end of the day, it's taking money out of my pocket as a flipper, and I didn't need to do that much renovation. I didn't need to put in the high-end lights or the
Mhm.
countertops, but I did. So you got to know your neighborhoods is the major point there.
Perfect, perfect. I love that. Know your neighborhoods, man. Know where you're getting yourself into. So let me see. You're a flipper, man. So what is the weirdest thing, the weirdest thing you've seen in a deal, in a home that you went to buy or went to see?
I heard that the other day on Instagram. It wasn't like any sex toys or anything. It was let's see. It was I bought this little home in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was about 1,100 square feet. Um, so we walked in to the house, and literally people were living, and it was very, very dirty. But I got a great deal on it. We always like to look at the whole house, the bedrooms, everything when we go in to buy them. And this particular house had 3 padlocks on the door. Yeah, the sister and brother, they were living there at the time. So she knocked, and her brother opens the door, and he was probably 20 something, and watching cartoons. He had like 3 or 4 dogs in this bedroom with him, middle of the day. So it was just an odd situation to see someone padlocked in their room like that, with dogs in there. But that was very odd. And then I had to literally, Hans, have 4 of those big bins to. It was only 1,100 square feet. I had 4 of those big dumpsters to take all this stuff out, and it was
Disgusting.
crazy,
Horrible.
crazy. But I made good money on that deal. But like, it was crazy to see people living
That's
in such
horrible,
a manner.
man.
Yeah, and it's a sad situation. But like we changed that house, and made it into a home.
Made it into for a beautiful family to have a beautiful home, man. So that's
Yeah,
that's a
that's the main thing that we love about the transformation. Not only transforming us as a flipper, but like seeing the visual picture of like something so bad and dirty with all these sad animals, and there's stuff from the animals on the floor, and like cleaning it up and making it livable, and very happy there, I hope now.
absolutely, by all means, man. That's the probably the most beautiful part about flipping, other than making good money from it, is that you give someone a beautiful home, man. That's
Yeah.
that's beautiful. Last question before we end. If you can compare yourself with any animal, Mr. Flipman, what animal would that be?
Oh man, that's a great question there, Hans. So I'm a Taurus the bull by my birth horoscope. And I don't like to think of myself as stubborn. I'm just strong-willed when it comes to deals and stuff. But like my former mentor, who I had a partnership for 6 years, he compared me to a bulldog. Um, just the fact that when you're focused, you just kind of boom. And so he gave me that bulldog mentality, and it has its pluses and has its minuses. You got to learn to tame the bulldog. So I'd have to say the bulldog.
Love it, man. I have an American bulldog myself, actually.
Oh, nice.
And absolutely, man. I totally understand your point. Like when you see something, you go for it, and your vision is kind of blocked, and just focus on that one thing. And like you said, it could be a positive thing because you're super concentrated and focused and determined on reaching that destination, let's just say. But also you can, probably lose vision, you know.
Yes.
Maybe like that one flip that you lost 50 grand on. Maybe you had like that mentality of like the money, I'm doing it, flipping it easy. And then you probably, maybe I'm just throwing
100%.
crap
No,
out
I agree, because
there.
you gotta, yeah. So I learned that you gotta balance. There's a positive and a flip side to every positive that we have, and um, that's kind of my story there.
Beautiful. Love it, man. Mr. Flipman, Philip, thank you so much for joining us today. It was amazing. You dropped great bombs. You motivated me. I'm really sure you're going to motivate tons of people out there that are going to listen to this. Again, thank you so much for being here with us. And again, for those of you that are listening, you can find Flipman anytime, not anytime, but almost every single day, Monday to Friday on Instagram. He goes lives and he's just dropping bombs and giving tons of valuable information. Again, his Instagram is flippin_AZ. He's from Arizona. He also he's also a mentor and a coach for those of you that want to get started in real estate investing. So feel free to reach out to him. He's an amazing person, and he'll be more than happy to help you out.
Thanks, Hans, for having me. And when you come out to Arizona, we'll definitely grab a beer or coffee or whatever.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait. Thank you so much
Awesome.
again. You have a great rest of your day.
Okay, you too.
It's like,
Peace.
bye bye.